guys, since you are joining my channel, I just wanted to give 10 facts about me so you could get to know me better. First off, I'm a 20-year-old student in college at the University of Central Florida, and I'm studying clinical psychology with, I want to, work in an area of neuropsychology. I really just love the brain and how it works and the functions of it, but then also what happens to the brain when something breaks or something gets hurt or you have a traumatic brain injury or something like that. And I really think it's interesting. So I'm currently studying that. I'm a junior. So I will be graduating not this spring, but next spring. Secondly, I am heavily involved in serving in my church, and I love it so much. On Sundays, I serve on the worship team as a singer, but then on Wednesdays and then throughout the week, I serve as a high school girls mentor in our student ministry, and I love it so much because I just love pouring into girls in that stage of life because I really think that area of development is just so pivotal in people's walks and when they're in that age. So I love being able to meet them where they are and talk to them and help them figure out what the heck is going on while they're in high school and figure out where God's plan lies for them through that season of life, but then also into the other seasons of life. So I just really like hanging out with them. They're all super sweet and funny, but that's one of the other things that I do at my church. Third, I have multiple chronic illnesses and I've had them for about 6 years now. It is not as bad as it was last year, but basically all the illnesses that I have, doctors have told me that they're incurable. Like there's just nothing you can do for them. You just have to ride it out, and typically it just gets worse. But honestly, like I am defying doctors' diagnoses right now because their diagnoses are correct. But the way that it's turned out is actually that God is really just healing me through it. Like slowly, my nerve damage is going away. My heart conditions are going away. My blood is becoming less toxic because I used to say it was toxic, like attacking all of my nervous system. So like literally every time I go see doctors, they're like, how in the world is this happening? And I have no other words to say besides like it's just God. Like God is really healing me. There's no way, because nothing changed that they were doing with me. No treatment has changed. In fact, I have stopped some of the treatment that they were giving me, which at first made me worse, but then through Christ's healing I am somehow becoming better and just feeling alive again, honestly, because for a while I kind of felt like I was a walking zombie. Fourth is that I have the best family ever. I love my family. I have 2 sisters, an older one and a younger one, and I have a mom and dad that I live with. I'm a stay-at-home college student because it's cheaper, but I just love living with them. They are so funny. We're all super involved in ministry. My older sister works out at Crew, and she's just doing amazing things there, while my younger sister's still in high school, and she's still like speaking at conferences and events every once in a while, like small gigs, but just really just sharing her heart for ministry. And my parents are just the best people ever, and I love them. So yeah, you will meet them maybe in some other videos. Fifth, the reason why we're super involved in ministry in the first place is that my dad's actually a pastor. So I have like the typical pastor's daughter cliche on me all the time, but my family tries really hard to debunk those prejudices that they have against pastors' daughters and pastors' families, because we're just out here with like a goal just to like live out Christ ministry and live out who Christ says we should be and how we should treat people, and that's just really evident in their ministry and in their church. And I admire them so much. They just showed us how powerful God really is and how real he is and how much he can do whenever you serve him and what he blesses you with in return and the peace that he gives you. And through that, just watching them in their ministry, that is what's really inspired my sisters and I to pursue our own ministry, still within Christianity, but just whatever God has called us to with our own different unique assets that we have to give. So I just really love that about them. Being a pastor's kid is a little bit difficult sometimes. I feel like I live in a glass box, but it's really just shown me how important it is to give grace to other people, but also to live in the way Christ would live, because people are watching you, and they're watching you wanting to know, one, if you're real, you know, if what you preach is real, but then also like is it real and that like God can really work in your life in that way, and it's true. Sixth is that I love plants, and I know a lot of people say nowadays that they love plants and they're super cool, but I love plants. I like propagating and growing plants rather than I just like having them in my house. So right now I'm propagating, looks a little messy, but I have like water propagated plants that I grew just from like little leaves, and they have their floating roots everywhere, and I just think they're really adorable and fun to do, and I love watching the growth of it. So I have a whole planter outside of my backyard that I propagate succulents with, and then other ivies and vines and trees and stuff that I like to do. So plants are just so great because God just teaches you so much about Him through the growing process of training up plants and weeding out things and trying to make things grow correctly and figuring out what works for them. And God is just really insightful in what He tells you as you are going through the growing process of figuring out plants. So I'll share more about my plants later, but basically I just love them. They're just the coolest things ever. Seventh is that I just like love teaching people things and sharing information. Like my dad says I'm like a thesaurus, because someone will say something and then I'll be like, oh my gosh, did you know this? Or like, oh, I just saw this on the internet and read this and this. And I don't do it to be like a know-it-all. I just really love sharing knowledge that I have with other people who might not know. Like I just love telling people like how their brain works, or how plants work, or why this person did this, or just really helping people understand the world around them better. And I really think that's one of the reasons why God has called me to start a YouTube channel, is because even in my everyday life, I love sharing information with the people around me, so why not do that on a larger scale? Eighth is that I actually used to dance competitively along with my sisters, and in every state we've lived in, we always found a dance studio that had a company that competed and traveled, so we would join them, and it was super fun. We've danced at like Disneyland in California and those places, but then also Disney World, and then places in Dallas and Austin, Texas, and it is just the most fun thing ever. Dancing is just the best, and it's so hard, but it is so much fun. And even though my body can't take it anymore, I still like to dance every once in a while, or just do yoga or something, just because that kind of movement is just so much fun to me. And also just like it just feels so like natural to me. Like that's just home. I don't do any other sport. I tried to do swimming once. That was interesting, but for the most part all I have ever done is dance. Now I'm basically inactive because I can't do much movement, but through healing, slowly but surely, I'll start to get more in shape, but that will be another journey in and of itself. Ninth is actually Butter Up, is all about Butter. This is Butter. She actually was supposed to be my service dog, and for a while she was, but since I'm getting better, she is retired and just my best friend now. Come here. She's super sweet and fun, and she's 2 years old. Right, Butter? So, yeah, that's another fact about me. You'll see her in a lot of my videos because that's all we ever do is hang out at the house. The 10th fact about me is that I love Jesus. Like, I just love Him. What He has done for me in my life and what I have learned about Him, I just have no words to describe how incredible He is, which is also such a drive for me in order to do this and do YouTube, is because I just want to share with people how amazing He is, what He has done for me, who He is, how evident He is in this world, how people say that you have to search for God and find Him, but how you can literally, like, that's just so wrong, that you can just look all around you and see His beauty and His creation, have to know that there is someone bigger out there, and He is all powerful and all knowing, and I want to follow Him because obviously He created me for a purpose, and as you know Him, you know your purpose. So I just love the idea of being able to share with you guys how to find your purpose, how to find what God wants you to do. Same with Butter. Because I just believe that when you find your purpose, you find contentment and you find peace and you find happiness. And that's when life becomes hard, is when you have no idea what you're doing in this life or why you're here. And when you're struggling to find your purpose in life, it's hard to say that you're content if you have no idea what you're supposed to do with yourself. But through this channel, I really want to be able to answer your guys' questions and provide you guys insight on how to figure out God's calling on your life, how to hear his voice, how to know him better, and what to do as a Christian in order to continue to pursue the call that he has on your life. So with that, I'm just going to say goodbye. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for coming and watching my channel and saying hi to Butter. And we just love you guys, and we'll see you guys soon.